There are plenty of renters who are affected by an eviction moratorium that was put in place at the beginning of the pandemic. But that deadline, as you heard before the break, has changed. Commissioner Jennifer Ho leads Minnesota's Housing Department, and as we get closer to this deadline, which I believe it's next Monday, Commissioner, how many people do you think that this is going to likely impact in Minnesota?
Well, one of the things I think it's important for Minnesotans to understand is that while the CDC, the Center for Disease Control's evictions moratorium ends at the end of this month, the Minnesota legislature actually passed our own evictions off-ramp. And so the timelines and the rules here in Minnesota actually give people more time to apply for rental assistance and some extra protections around eviction than the federal moratorium does.
And that is good news. So what is the timeline then for people here in Minnesota? Because with this expiring on the federal level, this, as you said, gives them more time here. What kind of timeline though?
Well, the federal government also gave us emergency rental assistance. So the most important thing for renters who are behind to know is that if you apply to renthelpmn.org or call 211, and you're eligible to apply, you meet the income eligibility. Get an application in, hit submit, and just having an application pending with emergency rental assistance programs like renthelpmn.org give you protections against eviction. That protection lasts all the way through June 1st of next year. So even people who fall behind on their rent later on in the year, all you need to do is apply for assistance. If you're eligible, then you have protection against eviction.
Do you have any hard numbers with how many people have applied for this type of assistance specifically? How many people were currently at the state level making sure don't get evicted?
There's several different programs operating around the state because some of the Twin Cities jurisdictions got their own allocation of money. At the state, at Minnesota Housing, where we're running a statewide program, we have over 30,000 applications in hand. And, there's a rough estimate that maybe as many as 55,000 renter households in Minnesota who meet the eligibility criteria for this emergency rental assistance are behind. So my main message is if you think you're income eligible or you want to check and see if you're income eligible, call 211, go to renthelpmn.org and get an application in, because that's your best protection against eviction.
I know there's a lot of different qualifiers that make people eligible for different types of assistance, and there are different programs. So this is kind of a broad question, but what does qualify someone just specifically, though, for the pandemic relief, because that's what we're really focusing on?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If you are at 80% of the area median income, which means around $80,000 a year in Rochester, although it varies based on family size, you are eligible if you haven't been able to pay your rent because of reasons associated with COVID. And that can be the economy, many different things. So this is actually a pretty straightforward program to be eligible for. There's some things that you're going to have to document, some things we're going to need from the property in order to figure out how much money to pay whom. But it's pretty straightforward. If you're a lower moderate income family, you should definitely check to see if you meet the eligibility criteria.
I know you mentioned that you've been talking with federal officials and housing officials about what is happening on the national level, how it applies to Minnesota. Are there any changes, anything new that has happened even this week?
We're definitely in conversations. Other states like Minnesota are also operating their programs. It's been good to talk to one another and really understand what are the demands on the programs, how are people running their programs, what are the challenges they've faced, what improvements are they making, what is it that our priorities are when we talk to the federal government about some changes that they could make. How is this going to play out over time? Because this money's designed to be around for a while so that we can help people, even as, nobody can really project how long the economic recovery will happen.
If you can hang with me just 2 minutes, Commissioner, I want to talk about affordable housing in general. So we've been focusing on the renters assistance and the eviction moratorium, but can you hang with me just 2 minutes? We'll take a break and come back about talk about affordable housing.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. We'll be back. I'm continuing my conversation now with Housing Commissioner Jennifer Ho. And as we were talking before the break about evictions, and as we get closer to a deadline that is no longer going to apply in Minnesota, next June is when the eviction notices will more start going out. Is that what I understand?
If you're eligible for emergency rental assistance, either through renthelpmn.org or through one of the local metro jurisdictions, if you apply, then you have protection against evictions all the way out to June 1st of next year while we're processing your application and getting things made whole. For folks that aren't eligible, there are various states where things will start happening. I think importantly in Minnesota, one of the things that the Minnesota legislature did when they agreed to the evictions off-ramp, as they call it, is that they said that if a property manager is going to evict a resident, that they have to give them a 15-day notice before they file that eviction. Now, we have that protection in place all the way out to the middle of October, and it's the first time in Minnesota that there has been that pre-eviction filing notice. And that's a way to give a renter who maybe hasn't applied for emergency rental assistance yet the heads up that they need to take action or they could have an eviction filed against them.
Okay, well, on the topic of housing in general, I did want to talk about affordable housing. As we know, there are not a lot of places for buyers to be buying in certain markets. Here in Rochester, it's very difficult for people who are looking for an affordable house, right? And so I talked to nonprofits that help out people to get them into housing. But some of these homes are appraising so high that some nonprofits can't even cover the gap with state and federal funding when it comes to discount mortgage programs. Can you address that a little bit? It's harder and harder to buy a house, and these nonprofits are having a hard time getting people in them.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And I think that what we've known for quite some time is when the housing crash happened back in 2008, 2009, the state stopped building, not state like state government, but just people stopped building homes at the same rates. And it's always been the case that we didn't have enough homes that were being built specifically for people who had a home ownership opportunity but needed to get in at the lower end of the market. And so what happens is that when you've got a shortage of homes and you've got a high demand for them, as we've really had all the way through the pandemic, is that it's basic supply demand. The price goes up. I mean, I think probably others were as surprised as I was that the demand for home ownership has just increased even when we were, staying at home. So it's even more important than ever for us to find strategies to create incentives for people to build homes that are targeted at first-time home owners who are moderate income. And I think in the Rochester community, I think it's really important, even as you think about, the doctors and the higher paid professionals in the community to really make sure that there are home ownership opportunities for people who are maybe middle-wage workers and can't afford that high-end house. And so it takes a real deliberate strategy of city policymakers, county policymakers, the major companies and corporations in that community to say that that's an important thing to be prioritized in terms of land use and development priorities for the city.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of folks on the local level about this, and construction is crazy right now because they're trying to put up as many either rental units or homes that would be considered for first-time home buyers. And then there's people who fall in the cracks. They can't necessarily afford what is out there. They apply for these loans, get turned down. They apply for assistance, but they make too much, and they fall in that crack. And so those are the ones we end up hearing from in the newsroom because they let us know that these assistance programs don't apply to everybody, and that's really hard on them.
One of the things I'm really excited about the conversation that's happening out in Washington, D.C. is that they're talking about creating a federal down payment assistance program. And we'll see what comes of that, in the coming year. But one of the things that we found at Minnesota Housing is that if people who hadn't really imagined being homeowners take the time to really understand like whether or not they have enough income to be able to afford that monthly mortgage payment. But maybe the thing they're missing is the upfront cash, the closing costs, and the down payment. That there are programs available through Minnesota Housing and others that can help make that happen. I do know that when you're trying to buy a home that's say $175,000, $225,000, it requires persistence. There's a lot of people that are bidding for every home that's for sale right now, and so persistence is a virtue. But in our single-family lending portfolio at Minnesota Housing, we're actually seeing year-to-year increases in production. So we're seeing low and moderate income families that are able to enter into home ownership, oftentimes the first time in their family, the first time that they've been able to buy a home. So it's still happening, but because of the competitiveness of the market right now, it just requires that extra down payment assistance sometimes and that perseverance, that persistence.
All right, so federal down payment plan. We want to keep our eyes on what is happening on the national level with that, because that is going to impact our housing market level, because as you said, we have a lot of professionals, and then we have our median income families they're the ones who are struggling to find a house. I do appreciate your time, Commissioner. Thank you so very much.
Can I just pop in with one more thing?
Absolutely.
You know, the other thing that happened with the legislature this year is we got a good housing package overall, and that includes some investments in both rental housing and single-family home ownership. And so I just think it's important to realize that, yes, the federal government has a role to play, the state has a role to play, local government has a role to play, obviously families have a role to play. But I think it's just really clear that housing is an important challenge that all of us need to tackle together right now.
I completely agree. We do a lot of news stories on it because of how important it is. You offer some great encouragement as well with what is being done currently, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for your coverage.
Yeah.